Okay, so you know how when you order something online and you're just like obsessively checking that little tracking dot,
Oh, yeah, totally.
like just waiting for it to arrive?
Uh-huh.
That's like basically what we're diving into today, right?
Yeah. Behind the scenes of all that,
Exactly, like a whole world of people.
a whole army.
Yes, an army of fulfillment associates.
Right.
And you know what our listener wants to be one?
They want to join the ranks.
That's awesome.
Yes. They're getting ready for a fulfillment associate interview.
Nice.
And luckily, Indeed.com has tons of resources.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes. So we're going to take all that info
Okay.
and give our listener kind of like a deep dive
Right.
on how to stand out in that interview.
Yeah, interviews can be nerve-wracking,
Oh, totally.
but we're going to break it down, and hopefully by the end of this,
Yeah.
you'll be feeling like super confident.
Yes, like a toolbox full of strategies.
I had a toolbox. I love that.
All right, so first things first, where do we even begin with this toolbox? Well, the first tool is understanding what the interviewer is really asking.
Okay.
Like, what's behind those questions,
Uh-huh.
So you get a question, tell me about your attention to detail.
Right, a classic.
Yeah, and you might think, oh, I just got to say, yeah, I'm detail-oriented.
Right.
But they're looking for more.
Okay, so what are they actually looking for?
They want to know that you get the impact of the job.
Like how even little mistakes can have big consequences.
Exactly, like a misplaced item or a wrong label.
Oh, man, I actually had that happen to me once.
Really?
Yeah, I ordered a new phone case online,
Huh.
and I got a box of screws instead.
Wow.
I know, right? Talk about attention to detail gone wrong.
Oh, man. Can you imagine that in a warehouse, though?
Oh my gosh, the chaos.
Yeah. Huge delays, upset customers, maybe even safety issues.
So that's what they're getting at with that question.
Yeah, they want to know. You understand the why behind the what.
Not just blindly following instructions?
Right. It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Right. Got it. Okay, so how do we actually, answer these questions then?
So Indeed has some sample answers, right?
Yeah.
And they're good, but we can make them even better.
Okay, take us to the next level.
Exactly. So one question is, how do you manage your time in a fast-paced environment?
Yeah.
And the sample answer talks about prioritizing and using tools to track progress.
Right, but it's kind of like a little generic.
Yeah.
How do we make it more personal?
So instead of just saying, I prioritize,
Yeah.
tell a story.
Okay.
Give a specific example.
Hmm.
Have you ever juggled multiple projects?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Right. Or use a time management app that helped.
Uh-huh.
Sharing a real story makes it more memorable.
And convincing.
Totally. It's like painting a picture with your words.
Ooh, I like that.
And don't forget to tie it back to those key traits.
Like attention to detail.
Exactly.
So, I could say being organized helps me meet deadlines while also maintaining that crucial attention to detail.
Perfect. You're hitting multiple points in one answer.
Nice. Okay, I'm feeling more confident already.
Awesome.
But what about those questions about the physical demands of the job? I get a little nervous. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging.
I get it.
But they're asking for a reason, right?
Yeah, the job requires it.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, I'm physically fit,
Yeah.
tell a quick story.
Okay.
Maybe from a previous job
Uh-huh.
where you had to lift heavy things or be on your feet for a long time.
Right.
And here's the key, emphasize safety.
Oh, okay.
So you're showing them you're strong, but also responsible.
So, in my last role, I regularly lifted 50-pound packages and always made sure to use proper lifting techniques. Avoid injury for myself and my colleagues.
Perfect. See, you're showcasing your strength, work ethic, and commitment to safety all at once.
Wow, and it doesn't sound braggy.
Not at all. Okay, now for the question I know you're dreading.
Which one?
Tell me about a time you failed.
Ugh, I hate those.
I know, right? It's like being called to the principal's office.
Totally.
Totally. But we can't exactly avoid them, can we?
Nope, but we can handle them strategically.
Okay, so how do we do that without sounding incompetent?
Honesty and a growth mindset.
Okay.
Don't try to pretend you've never made a mistake.
Yeah, everyone makes mistakes.
Right. So briefly describe the situation, but then shift the focus to what you learned.
So don't dwell on the mistake. Highlight the takeaway.
Exactly. For instance, you could say, I once misjudged the time for a task, and it caused a delay.
Okay.
But then you add, this experience taught me to be more meticulous with my planning and communication.
Wow, that totally changes the narrative.
Right. You're owning the mistake, but showing that you learn and grow.
That's what they're looking for, right?
Exactly. Growth potential is key.
They don't expect perfection.
No, but they want to see you can learn and adapt.
This is so insightful. I'm like finally understanding how to speak interview.
Right, it's like a whole different language.
It is, but you're cracking the code for me. Glad to hear it. And speaking of opportunities, did you see that Indeed mentioned something about advancement opportunities for fulfillment associates?
Yeah, it did.
That's something to think about even at this stage.
Right. But how do I bring that up without sounding like I'm already looking for the next job?
It's all about framing it as ambition, not impatience.
Mm.
When they ask if you have any questions, that's your chance.
Okay.
You could ask about typical career paths at the company
Got it.
or inquire about training programs.
So I'm showing them that I'm committed to the role, but also interested in growth.
Exactly like saying, I'm here to learn and grow with you,
I like that it shows I'm thinking long term.
and that you want to contribute to their success.
This is all making so much sense now. I feel like I'm finally getting the hang of this whole interview thing.
I'm glad to hear that.
But there's still so much to unpack.
We've only just begun.
I know, right?
Let's take a pause here, and then we'll come back with part 2 and dive even deeper into these strategies.
Sounds good. I'm ready for more.
All right, we'll be back soon with more tools for that interview toolbox.
Can't wait. Okay, so we're back and ready for more interview tips.
More tools for that toolbox.
Exactly. That last part was like eye-opening.
Right.
I never realized how much strategy goes into these answers.
It's true. There's an art to it.
It really is. Okay, so speaking of art, let's talk about safety.
Oh, yeah. Big one.
Indeed mentioned that interviewers are really looking for candidates who prioritize safety.
For sure. It's crucial in a warehouse environment.
But how do we work that into our answers naturally?
Yeah, we don't want to sound like a safety manual.
Exactly. So how do we do it?
It's about showing that safety is just part of how you work.
Like it's ingrained.
Yeah. So for example, let's say they ask, what would you do if you found an error in the inventory?
Okay.
The sample answer talks about informing a supervisor and following protocol.
Right, which is all good.
Yeah, but we can add a layer of safety awareness.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
So imagine this. You say, if I found an inventory error, my first priority would be to make sure it doesn't create a safety hazard.
Okay.
Like if it was a mislabeled hazardous material.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Right? I'd secure the area immediately and alert my supervisor.
To prevent any accidents.
Exactly.
That's a great point. You're thinking about the consequences.
Right. Not just fixing the error, but preventing potential problems.
And it shows you understand safety protocols without saying it outright.
Exactly. Subtle, but effective.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. We're taking those basic questions and connecting them back to those core traits.
Exactly. Like attention to detail, safety, efficiency.
We're highlighting those qualities throughout the whole interview.
It's all about creating a cohesive story that showcases your strengths.
And makes you stand out.
For sure. So let's try another one.
Okay, hit me.
What do you do if you find a damaged product?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So the sample answer says remove it and report it.
Right, basic procedure.
Yeah, but we can add some initiative.
Ooh, I like initiative.
So instead, you could say, if I found a damaged product, I'd first assess the damage to see if it's a safety risk.
Okay.
Then I'd remove it and follow the procedures for reporting and disposal.
Makes sense.
But then you add this, and I'd also try to figure out what caused the damage.
Like improper handling or faulty packaging?
Yeah, and then you could suggest ways to prevent it from happening again.
So you're not just following instructions, you're problem solving.
Exactly, and showing leadership potential.
Wow, that takes it to a whole new level.
It's about showing that you're thinking beyond the task at hand.
And that you care about improving things.
Right. You're not just there to punch in and punch out.
Yeah.
You're invested.
This is great advice for any interview, not just for fulfillment associates.
Yeah, I can see that these principles apply across the board.
It's about understanding what they're looking for and showing your value.
Okay, so earlier we talked about asking about advancement opportunities.
Right, showing ambition.
But I'm still a little nervous about bringing it up.
I get it. Like, is there a way to do it without sounding like I'm already planning my exit?
You just got to find the right words. Remember, interviewers like to see people who are eager to learn and grow.
That's true.
So when they ask if you have questions.
That's my chance.
Exactly. You could say something like, I'm excited about growing with a company. Could you tell me more about the typical career paths here?
Okay.
Or you could ask about training programs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're showing interest in the role, but also looking ahead.
It's like saying, I'm here to stay and contribute.
Exactly. It shows commitment and ambition.
This is all so helpful. I feel like I'm actually starting to understand how to approach interviews strategically.
That's the goal.
Instead of just hoping for the best.
Right. You're taking control of the narrative.
This is more than just answering questions. It's like building a connection.
And leaving a lasting impression.
I can't wait to put all this into practice.
I think you're going to do great.
I hope so. But before we wrap up completely,
Yeah.
we've got one more part with even more tips.
We'll be back soon to help you seal the deal and land that job.
Sounds good. I'm ready. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our interview prep deep dive.
Part 3, the grand finale.
I'm feeling so much more prepared now than I was before we started.
Good. That's the goal.
We've covered so much ground.
We have a whole toolbox full of strategies.
Yeah, no, I feel like I can actually handle those tricky questions now.
That's awesome.
So what else do we have from Indeed?
All right, so there's this one question that tends to trip people up.
Okay, which one?
Tell me about a time you had to adapt to a significant change at work.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
It is, but it's a chance to show off your flexibility and problem-solving skills.
Right, like how you handle curveballs.
Exactly. Change can be stressful, especially in a fast-paced environment like a warehouse.
Totally. So how do we answer this one effectively?
Think back to a time when things shifted at work.
Like a new process or system?
Yeah, or maybe a sudden increase in orders.
Okay.
Briefly describe the situation, but then focus on how you adapted.
What steps I took?
Yeah, and the skills you used to navigate that change.
Okay.
And of course, highlight the positive outcome.
So I'm basically turning a potential negative into a positive.
Exactly. You're showing them you can handle anything.
Resilience, adaptability. That's what they want.
And speaking of opportunities, let's talk about that last question you get to ask the interviewer.
Oh yeah, the grand finale questions.
It's your chance to leave a lasting impression.
So we talked about asking about career paths and training programs.
Right. Those are great.
Any other suggestions?
Think about the company's values or any recent initiatives they've launched.
Like what?
Maybe they have a new sustainability program or they're focusing on growing their online presence.
Okay.
You could ask how those initiatives impact the fulfillment associate role.
Ooh, that's smart. It shows I've done my research.
Exactly. And that you're genuinely interested in their bigger picture.
And it kind of subtly positions me as someone who's thinking beyond just the day-to-day tasks.
Right. You want to be part of their success.
I love it. Okay, so we've covered so much in this deep dive.
I know. It's been a lot.
But honestly, I feel so much better equipped to tackle this interview now.
I'm so glad to hear that.
It's like you've given me a roadmap for success.
That's the power of preparation and a little bit of strategy.
It really is. And these skills are helpful beyond just this one interview.
Absolutely. They'll serve you well throughout your career.
That's great to know. Okay, so before we wrap up completely,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with one final thought.
Okay, fire away.
Think about what makes you unique.
What are your strengths?
Exactly. What skills and experiences do you have that might not be obvious from your resume?
Good question.
Let that be your secret weapon in the interview.
Awesome advice.
All right, listener, good luck out there. We're rooting for you.
You got this.
And remember, this deep dive is here for you anytime you need a little boost of confidence.
We'll be here with more tips and tricks for all your career adventures.
Thanks for joining us, and happy interviewing!